My name is Jan. I am a PhD student of economics and I'm a student for Liberty. And as you can see, we have quite a busy schedule for the next 15 minutes. This is everything that we are going to cover. So let's get on to that. So first of all, we are going to cover everything that we know about Liberty. We are going to cover all the places everywhere around the world that our organization is working towards achieving the goal of liberty and what we need to all at once do to succeed. And of course, throughout, we will talk about Students for Liberty. And as you can also see, because this is after all a student presentation, there will also be plenty of low resolution memes. And this is all that we are going to talk about in the next 30 minutes. So let's get started. Let's get talking about everything that we do know about the future and everything that we don't know about the future and what it will bring. But before we get onto that, let's see what we know about the future here in the room. Can I ask you for a heads up who thinks that Bitcoin is the money of the future? All right. And now who thinks that Bitcoin will never become the real money of the future? Heads up, hands up. Okay, so security, can you get that guy? Okay, so the point of this is that we don't really know, and it's been subject to many dystopian movies, like this one. I'm not sure if you are familiar. That's the Soylent Green. If you don't know the movie, let me ruin it for you, because I will tell you the plot. It's a dystopian movie about future. At that point, the future in the movie is actually 2022, so we are past that point. And the point of the movie is that there is a world with overpopulation and starvation, and the only substance that there is a mysterious thing called Soylent Green. And in the very end of the movie, the main hero discovered that Soylent Green is in fact made of people. So is this the future that awaits us? And what are the predictions that we do hear about the future? And how often are we right? I have a series of predictions that didn't come true. This is from Professor Wilson, who predicted that in the late 1800s, that was the last thing that we've seen of electric light. I have a letter from the article from the Chicago Current that says that Telegram is a dead-end technology because it is distributed by stupid little boy, whereas letters are distributed by educated postmen. And we all know how post works in our countries. And I have this one from a very smart guy who predicted that nuclear energy will never become generally available. And I also have this one from a Nobel laureate, Paul Krugman, which many of you are probably familiar with, who predicted in 1998 that the impact of the internet on the economy will be no larger than the fax machines. And I'm sure you are very much familiar with all the predictions that we hear today about Bitcoin, about all the crashes that we expect every day, and all the unit value drops that we expect every day, and how often they come true. And this is part of my point about liberty here, because we really do know nothing about what the future will bring. And this is why it's important to remember that how often we are mistaken. And it might be in our hopes, it might be in our fears, but we should remember that there is a lot of things that we often overlook when we focus on the doomsday scenarios, which is that we are getting richer every day. The last 3 years have been an unexpected exception, but the gradual trend has been towards larger and larger wealth all over the world. We live longer. We live in relatively free regimes increasingly, politically. So things seem to be getting better. And how does this all connect to liberty? Generally, the two arguments I think that we use about liberty, or the two reasons why we care about, is we feel that something is unjust, we feel that things are not as they should be, and people are not getting what they are due, or they aren't allowed to keep what is rightful theirs. Or, and this is my main point, we just are humble because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the future will bring, and we keep getting it wrong when we try to look into the future, and we are therefore unable to really plan society. We are not good at telling people what to do because we don't really know what is ahead of us. And I encourage you to stop by our booth over there at Students for Liberty and pick up the copy of this book, Why Liberty, which sums up many of these arguments. And that brings me to what we as Students for Liberty do everywhere around the world, because we are a global organization that connects around 3,000 volunteers worldwide who organize annually around 2,000 events in over 100 countries. And I just have a few highlights from Europe that I wanted to share with you, because in Europe we have students in 34 countries. So wherever you are from here, there is a chance that there are Students for Liberty nearby, whether you know it or not. And they do talk about Bitcoin as well. This is a conference about decentralized technologies last year in Georgia, Tbilisi. They do talk about other topics, though. This is the conference here in Prague about the war on drugs. They do summer schools and they educate each other, but they are also not afraid to go out and do some real activism when it's needed. They are not afraid to drive to the border of Ukraine to help friends who need it, or to join protests when necessary to raise awareness of important issues, such as this one in Georgia, when our students participated in a protest that you might have seen on the news recently this year, where the students joined in a large-scale protest that actually managed to stop the implementation of a law in Georgia that would severely limit the NGO sector in the country. We also do large-scale events, such as LibertyCon Europe, which is a conference that travels around the continent, and this year took place in Lisbon. Last year it took place here in Prague, which is where this picture is from, and where we cover all the topics that connect us. And we also discuss the topics where we have differences, and it's a place where we all connect as Friends of Liberty. It's also the only place that I'm aware of when you can play football with David Friedman, the son of Milton Friedman. Our students also have the opportunity to travel. This is our Czech team at a conference in Miami with Lynn Ulbricht, mother of Ross Ulbricht, which I'm also sure you are familiar with, and who they also invited to Prague there for their conference. And they participate in trainings to be better advocates for liberty and to learn more about how to do events, how to run social media, how to do videos, how to do activism, and how to effectively argue for a freer future. They publish articles on our platform, Learn Liberty. They make videos for the same platform, and they also write magazines and publish them in print. Again, a copy of the magazine you can pick up at our booth. So I encourage you to join us and pick up the latest Bitcoin-focused issue of the magazine. This is the editorial team, by the way, which you can also meet at the booth. They achieve much more, which would take much more time than I have here to cover. But I do encourage you again to visit our booth, hear the stories of our students, and after all, after my talk is over, you will also hear a talk about another one of our students who is currently running what I believe is the largest Bitcoin-focused event in Poland, possibly, the Bitcoin Film Festival. So I hope you stay after I am done and you will listen to Tomek as well, because he is one of our students who really went out and achieved great things. So what do we need to do to actually be efficient and to achieve the freer future in our lifetime, or at least bring it nearby? Some of the predictions that we see in the dystopian movies seems to be coming near. I talked about Soylent Green with overpopulated world. The world population is growing. I think that's a good news, because more people mean more minds, more innovative solutions. And I do think that innovative solutions is, in the end, what will bring about the freer future. So I do not think that more people will bring about a Soylent Green kind of future. I think more people is precisely what we need. And here is where I want to share my skepticism in a way with you, because I do not think that the change will come through sudden improvement in government. I talked about the world getting freer, but the fact of the matter is that it's mostly the currently undemocratic countries that are getting freer, not the already relatively free country remaining free. So I'm skeptical of the general trend in politics, but I do think that we will achieve greater freedom despite the trend in politics through technologies such as Bitcoin or VPNs or other technologies that allow us to keep our privacy expanded and operate outside of the political structure and the regulatory structure. But for that, this is something that we cannot do alone. The liberals and libertarians and Bitcoiners and whatever we would like to call ourselves are individualists, and we don't like to, we often struggle to work together. But I think this is precisely what we need to do to succeed, because 5 million people using Bitcoin is something that is easily regulated, easily stopped when the government decides to do so. 1 billion people using Bitcoin in daily transaction is a whole different story. And this is why I think it's only together that we succeed. I think it's only through mass adoption of these decentralized technologies that we will achieve liberty in our lifetime. And I do believe that the point of Students for Liberty is to make sure that the current generation of students and the upcoming generation of students plays an important role in that. So if you are a student, I encourage you to join our program, apply your local knowledge, work on what you do best to help us bring about liberty in our lifetime. Here is a QR code for our website where you can join Students for Liberty. I will return it to the screen shortly. And I thank you very much for your attention.